I'm here to tell you a story. I'm sure you recognize many of the faces behind me. They are among the most powerful men and women on the planet. They are also part of a global conspiracy, a shadow organization that spans across every continent and has for the last 3 decades, consisting of leaders in world government and the private sector. Some call this group the Cabal. The world you live in is the world they want you to think you live in. They start wars, create chaos, and when it suits them, they resolve it. Cabal members will move more money in the next quarter than the World Bank will in the next year. Their alliance affects sea change in every aspect of human life. The value and distribution of commodities, money, weapons, water, fuel, the food we eat to live, the information we rely on to tell us who we are.
What exactly do you expect us to do with this information?
Study it, investigate it to determine the truth, and then report it. Let me be clear. Investigating this group will immediately position you as a threat. If you do what I'm asking, you will be putting your lives and the lives of those you love at grave risk. In the end, the truth will out. Not all of us will live to see that day, but the truth will out.
Happy Monday, guys. Before I start, okay, yep, the volume works good. I'm always going to do that when I start my lives to check out the audio, so I'm not talking. You guys are like, I can't hear, there's no sound. So anyway, welcome Monday night. It's been a week. Sorry I couldn't wish our patriots down in the United States a happy July 4th. I was banned for 3 days, and I'll take the 3 days. I'll take the 3 days. It's better than being banned for a month or being banned for life. So I took the 3 days again because I said something really drastic to a libtard on Facebook. So obviously I had to pay the price because that's what happens when you go against the narrative. You got to pay the price. So I'll take the 3 days. So anyway, welcome, guys. Monday night down here with real and raw truth with common sense. Thank you again for joining me. The truthers, the common sensors, the patriots, the pure bloods, the once upon a time pure bloods. Before we get going, I got a bunch of stuff to show you. We're going to do some shout outs to see which of our truthers are out there watching tonight. The family, the Freedom family. So we're going to do some shout outs and then we'll get the podcast going and let's see what Freedom Jeff or Jeff Freedom has to share with you guys tonight, because it's all about common sense. And so we'll see if I can awake any more people, because I'm pretty sure the people that are following me are already well awake. But there's sometimes some people, that will view my podcast that's never seen it before. That will, I got to kind of hook them into it, to try to, I don't know if you guys see my analogy. Today was pretty much something that I, as a firefighter once upon a time, I use that perfect analogy as, trying to convince people today is like pulling someone out of a house fire and them slapping you in the face saying, what fire? I don't, arguing with you that there's no fire and to prove it, even though they're seeing the flames. Kind of the same analogy, give or take. But anyway, we'll leave it as it is. Let's do the shoutouts and we'll begin, guys. So the first shoutout is going to Judy Horn from Kentucky, Gilles Bourgeois, Michelle Hurt. How you doing, Tadaz? Yolanda. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the last name, Yolanda, because I know I'm going to mess it up. How you doing, Camaro, Chevy Girl, Patty Votor, Winita, Roland, Brenda Pryor, Vincent, Guimau, brother from a different mother. How you doing, Elizabeth Zomar from BC, Sylvie and Julien Saunier. Who else here? Irene, Miss Carrie from Ontario, Miss May and Anna Gallant from Shediac. How you doing, Mirdia Dag? Cheryl Bacon. How you doing, Jan Grabowski? That's a newbie. Just added her on about 10 minutes before the podcast started. What's up, Denny the Jet Cormier? Chris Walker from Kansas. Sean, brother from a different mother. From Oshawa, I went to see George Thorogood and the Destroyers at Massey Hall. Was great. Dude, you're always at concerts, living the life. How you doing, Miss Eagles? Judy from Vancouver Island. Let's see, Macdan, brother from a different mother. Ron from the Winnipeg area. Karen Ross, Miss Sherry, fellow Pegger. How you doing, Kenny Eisner? Who else here? Let's see, Norman McCure and Miss Janice. How you doing, Mo? On the road to Humboldt, working. Well, you know, you can work and listen to me at the same time. Congrats to you. Sylvia from the PI, which I will be down this weekend, believe it or not. Sylvia, I'm bringing my son camping on the island this week. I have the name of the campground. It's got to be on there. I've got it on my phone. And how you doing, Miss Janice from, did she put sunny, hot Florida? She's teasing us again because it was pretty damn cold here in New Brunswick today. Not paying enough carbon tax, I guess. How you doing, Brent? Or actually, we're paying too much carbon tax because it's kind of chilly. It was chilly here today, to be honest with you. Melanie Clemens from Tennessee. Joel, brother from a different mother. How you doing, Serge? Another brother from a different mother. Miss Sheila from Texas. Maria from Dieppe. Karen. Genevieve from The Rock, and Nicholas Freedom, who's still in Ottawa, doing all that he needs to do in Ottawa. I still don't know how he does it. I don't know if you've seen a video from Nicholas Freedom. Anyway, he was a couple of weeks ago before I went to Columbia. Actually, he does torment the politicians down in Ottawa, and then there's one time, I know a lot of the American family don't see this, but Nicholas had he chalks the grounds, I guess, the pavement with, you know, truth, and the city sent out this crew to pressure wash his chalk that was all over the ground, of, you know, pretty much describing the evil that's in Ottawa. And one of the workers, when Nick was filming, one of the workers took the pressure wash and sprayed him directly in the face, cut his lip completely wide open, on top of his lip completely wide open for stitches. It was a complete assault with a weapon. I mean, you get that in the eye, you're definitely losing an eye. And I don't know what happened to that. Apparently, the police didn't do anything about it, even though the police were there, or I like to call them the campus police. So yeah, I don't know what came out of that, Nick, but when you require stitches in the face from a weapon, I don't care what anybody says, that's an assault. I mean, spit on someone, it's an assault, but to pressure wash someone in the face, yeah, man, I know you're not a big guy, but no matter what, there would have been some fists flying. Definitely someone would have got more stitches than me after that. Let me tell you that. So you got a little bit of patience to me. That's why, my friend, I can't go to Ottawa, because I'll still would be sitting in a jail cell after all these years. So I can't do the things you guys do because I don't have the patience. I'm too alpha for that. Obviously, there'd be cops getting beat up. There'd be the campus police getting beat up. People would be getting some elbows up in the face. But I would still be in jail because obviously I hate the legal system, don't care for it, don't respect for it, don't back up the blue, defund the blue. Yeah, we can do our own thing of policing the the grounds, especially in Canada. Yeah, I mean, you guys have been seeing all these protests in Ottawa, and the police are not doing anything. They're actually, not just Canada, United States, the UK. In the UK, I would be completely in jail and in prison just for doing these podcasts, believe it or not. Because in the UK, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you put something like anything about immigrants on your Facebook or any social media, you go to jail. You don't pass go, you don't collect $200. They are literally killing the UK on purpose, by design. I thought Canada had the most corrupted politicians besides the United States, obviously, but UK, I don't know how you guys do it down there. The Irish, I know I've got some footage of the Irish taken back. I got some pictures of a couple more presidents down there that are taken over because they finally had enough with the immigrants. So they know what's going on, obviously. And but I just feel sorry for the people in the UK because it's not the UK no more. It really is a crappy country to live in. How you doing, Barbie Barb from Houston, Texas? And I think that will be a guy. There's so many of you that I can't keep up. I mean, geez. Who else? So yeah. So anyway, first things first. Like I was just saying, my last podcast was all about immigrants. I finally have a few things to talk about. I've seen some guy that pretty much nailed it all. Everything that I say, and I've been saying for the past so many years, about the immigration, they're literally taking out the whole Western society, but they're doing it on purpose. How you doing, Terry Jacobson? So they're doing it on purpose. It's an agenda, guys, and the agenda is to take out the Westerners, aka whites, to fill every country up. Australia is bad, Canada is unrecognizable, UK is unrecognizable, pretty much all Europe is unrecognizable. They're trying to do it to the United States, obviously with the Muslims. But I'm going to show you something here, guys, and this video alone, especially if you're in the UK, should piss you off. All right, how you doing, Tony Shepard? But what says pressure washers, vans be so wicked. I seen a man put his hand in front of it and it sliced his hand wide open. He had to get a lot of stitches. Yeah, Garen, you should see Nick's upper lip. But anyway, I'm going to show you this video, guys. I had to get it. It's very disturbing to see what they're doing in London. But this is the London politics. And trust me, it's coming to a country near you. It's slowly being rolled out everywhere. But I don't think it's going to get to that point. I honestly do. I think it's not going to get to that point. And I think the time it does get to that point, it's a time where there's going to be chaos and civil unrest, which is happening already in politics and throughout the UK. Check this out.
The mayor of London is Muslim. The mayor of Birmingham is a Muslim. The mayor of Leeds is Muslim. The mayor of Blackburn is Muslim. The mayor of Sheffield is Muslim. The mayor of Oxford is a Muslim. The mayor of Luton is a Muslim. The mayor of Oldham is a Muslim. The mayor of Rochdale is a Muslim. All of this was achieved by only 4 million Muslims out of the 66 million people in England. Today in England, there are over 3,000 mosques. There are over 130 Sharia courts in England, and there are more than 50 Sharia councils. 78% of Muslim women do not work and receive state support and free accommodation. 63% of Muslims do not work and receive state support and free housing. State-supported Muslim families have an average of 6 to 8 children who all receive free accommodation. Every school in the UK is required to teach about Islam. The number one most common baby name in England is Muhammad. This is not immigration. This is invasion.
Say it as it is, guys. It's not immigration. It's an invasion. Few statistics. You see all those cities that are full of Muslim mayors. They're estimating 4 million out of 66 million, and you're going to tell me all these cities get hit with all these Muslim mayors? Like, it's not even a 2% of the population. 4% of their 66,000. So take 4. Let's take 4 million out of 66,000 percentage wise. It's a low percentage. So the possibility of the elections for these people to win is literally like winning the Lotto 649. Okay. So what I'm saying, they're not elected, they've been selected, and they're put there for a reason and a reason only. So yeah, I mean, 78% of all Muslim women, and that's not just in UK, it's everywhere around the world, again, get welfare. Again, I was arguing with someone today on Facebook about immigration and how immigration has nothing positive. There's not one positive thing about immigration, not one positive thing about immigration. I don't care. Bring out the people that think they can debate with me when it comes to immigration and other things, but specifically immigration. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to keep on pushing immigration out and the sadness and how it's got to stop. And I'm going to keep on doing it until people start realizing that there's an agenda. It's got nothing to do with war-torn countries, because Pakistan's not war-torn, all right? Neither is Punjabi, neither is India. You got the Syrians, Syria, you got the Iraqis. Who else? You know, you even got the Filipinos that are taking over some of the places down here. Rishabaktu, that's not war-torn. These are third world countries dumping all their parasites onto us on purpose. There's a purpose for it. And the purpose is that one word that no one can debate with me. All right. And it's called destabilize. Destabilization. All right. It's plain and simple. Africa is not war torn. You know, all these Africans that have hospital jobs. It's not from war-torn countries. They're there for a reason. I'm not going to tell you why they're bringing in a lot of Africans. I'm going to give you guys a hint. All right, check this out. I'm going to give you guys a hint, and you guys will have to say it out loud to yourselves. All right, plain and simple. I'll throw a couple things to you, and I'll let you guys think about it yourselves. Okay, so what was the number one thing in the early 80s? All right, I'm going to let you guys think about this one. What was the number one sickness in the early 80s? All right, I want you guys to check this out, because you know there's always a plan behind the madness. What was the disease in the early 80s that they did concerts for? You know, the live, I almost give the word out, the live something, where they had all those singers sing, you know, all this BS music, you know, supporting this country. AIDS. Yep, everybody's getting it. AIDS, 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 AIDS. Okay? So now, do you guys remember, all right, even though we all know now that Dr. Fauci was behind it with the AIDS virus, but it only happened in Africa. Now, do you guys remember what they were telling us back in the 80s about how AIDS was started? Even though we see today, they say, you know, a lot of the gay men have AIDS. There's always got to be a reason why. That's what they're ruling out now. But back then, all right, is what did they used to tell us how it was made back then? We know that Fauci is the one that created it, Ron. It's 100%. All right. Thank you. Ray's got the answer. Is monkeys. They were saying that the Africans were humping monkeys. I know you guys probably, not a lot of you know about that, and some of you do know. But that's what they were saying. They were out, you know, banging monkeys. And that's how the AIDS virus had happened. But the problem, here's the thing, all right, even though we know I'm not going to say that's not true, all right. Obviously, you know, when you put something in someone's anus, you know, it's full of bacteria, things tend to happen, right? You know, when someone just mentioned fudge packing, obviously, right? It's not a good thing. But what they did back then is we always seen UNICEF, Red Blood or Blood. What's that called? That society, Red Blood or Blood, Red Cross. Sorry, not Red Blood, Red Cross. All those fancy places that used to give out vaccines to all those Africans back in the 80s. Remember that? So to me, it was started by Fauci. That's That's 110%. I bet my cannabis farm on everything you can imagine. All right. So yeah. So what they did is check this out. What they did back in the 80s, because again, the depopulation agenda that they've been talking about and they've been planning has been going around for the longest time. All right. Even before the 80s, it was just made official back in 1994, where the countries all got together and, made this agreement that they're calling it sustainable development. All right. And that's when we first start hearing the sustainable development. But it was back in the 80s where the depopulation agenda, even in the 70s, but it really started getting popular in the 80s because they were saying the world was at 6 billion people and they needed to do something before it started getting, overpopulated. Because we got to remember, the Georgia Guidestones were put up in the early 80s by we don't know who, right? So, it's 100%. 100% that it was Dr. Fauci that was behind it. Believe it or not, do up the little research. You'll see that Dr. Fauci was the person that found the AIDS virus. So we all know what that how that turned out. So anyway, what happened is they vaccinated all these Africans. All right, vaccinated all these Africans, and what did they do? They shipped all these Africans throughout the world. All right. Now picture this. It's a great plan. And there's other things that go along with it. But you got all these vaccinated Africans, babies, kids, mothers, you name it, fathers, and they spread them all over the place. All right. United States, Canada, you name it. And then what do you think? All right. What do you think happened is AIDS, instead of being secluded in one country, all right, they literally spread the AIDS throughout the world. So they were shipping them everywhere. I don't think they shipped them in China because I don't think China would have allowed that, and Japan and places like that. But everywhere else, they were shipping them. Okay. And obviously people start dying of the big AIDS pandemic back in the 80s. Remember, we've seen a lot of movies with the AIDS pandemic, and they're still doing it to this very day, tainting all the blood transfusions and stuff like that. So what I'm saying, yes, the Guidestones are gone, Irene. That's old school. That's old news, obviously. Guidestones were hit by the rods of God. So yeah, we know that they are no longer. Back in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, the Guidestones were blown up. All right. So first things first, that's what I believe, and the whole thing with the AIDS pandemic. It's 100%. But since we're on this, check this out, guys, is the Dutch government has passed a bill for all asylum seekers, okay, that all asylum seekers will no longer be allowed to get permanent residencies. He literally passed a law that everyone that's there now has to leave. And this is the Dutch president. The Dutch parliament has passed the bill for all asylum seekers to leave ASAP. This guy, I would shake his hand. All right. So the Trump effect is happening throughout the world. All right. Believe it or not. It says here the Netherlands is finally waking up. It's the Trump effect, guys. It's definitely the Trump effect. And I still get a kick out of it. I really still get a kick out of it when people still talk bad about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is this. And you got a person that I respect a lot. With the fittest flat earther, but he still thinks that Donald Trump is a bad person and he's used to be Elvis and stuff like that. And I love the guy because he does have some good stuff. Unfortunately, he's totally wrong. I'll say this once, I'll say this twice, I'll say this 100 times. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, all right, if it wasn't for Donald Trump, we'd be screwed right now. And it reminds me, I went to a person the other day who wanted some ivermectin. So I went to bring her some ivermectin because she's got cancer. So I talked to her. I had put a reverse osmosis machine in her house last year. So obviously she keeps in touch with me once in a while, change her filters. And she needs some ivermectin and some, she needed some guidance on what to do. But then she said something that totally shocked me, guys. She said something like, we need to ship Mark Carney out and throw him to the States. And I said, well, I don't think Trump needs any more crap down there. And besides, we're going to be a 51st state. And her face just changed. I never knew this, but she hates Trump. And you're talking to the wrong person if you tell me you hate Trump. And I looked at her and I said, listen, I said, I know you don't vote Liberal. You hate Mark Carney and stuff like this. But I said, you can't be a conservative and hate Mark Carney and hate the Liberals and hate Trump. All right. It's totally irrelevant. It doesn't even make sense to me. I said, if you only knew what Donald Trump has done for this country, I said, if you're listening to the news, do yourself a favor. Stop listening to the news if you say you're so much awake. I said, because if you only knew if Donald Trump was a bad person, I said one thing before I walked out that door, which I don't think she's going to see me go back there no more. I said, I got one question for you. All right. And she doesn't have the answer for it. All right. Yeah, it's a contradiction for sure. All right. But check this out. Besides the 100 other things that I could discuss about the good things about Donald Trump. All right. I said to her, I said, let me ask you something. I said, remember that convoy that we had in Canada? I was one of the main guys that led it. And we went down to Ottawa. I said, do you think our little convoy is the main reason that stopped the mask mandates, that stopped the vaccine mandates, that stopped all of this complete chaos? I said, do you think it was our rally, our freedom rally, that made all of this stop just like that? I said, do you think which politician stopped all that mask mandate? All right, anybody? Because don't get me wrong, the freedom convoy, even though I was, the first one arrested and the first one shipped out of there, was good. It was still a circle jerk, obviously, to be honest with you. So it was a complete circle jerk because obviously, the people that stayed, got trampled on. All right. There was no violence, again, which is the stupidest thing because you don't solve problems by doing circle jerks and singing kumbayas. So there's nothing that happened out of that convoy, period, except getting trampled on by horses. So I looked at her, I said, do you think any of our politicians stopped any of that bull crap? I said, no. I said, I can tell you who stopped it. I said, Donald Trump stopped it worldwide. Donald Trump and the White Hat stopped it worldwide because you know what? It literally stopped in a heartbeat. And I said it had nothing to do with any of us marching around with bouncy castles and singing Kumbaya down in Ottawa. I said, you better think before you react and think that Donald Trump was a bad person because, if it wasn't Donald Trump, I said, we'd be all in concentration camps as we speak right now. We really would. We still would be. They made a huge concentration camp down in Winnipeg. You guys got to check that out. Remember that? They made a concentration camp down here in Fredericton. Believe it or not, for the people in New Brunswick, they had concentration camps in each province that people didn't even know about. All right. And if anyone thinks that our little kumbaya freedom jerk, circle jerk thing stopped all this mass mandate crap, you guys got something coming to you. It was Mr. Trump himself and the White Hats that put a stop. They had to wake people up first, punish people, and then put a stop to all this insanity. Had nothing to do with the freedom. So I said, when you can figure out who actually helped us at the end of it, let me know, because it had nothing to do with anything in Canada. So to be honest with you, she hasn't messaged me back with the right answer, and I don't plan on her messaging me back with the right answer. So anyway, enough about that. Speaking of Trump posts that Joe Biden died in 2020. All right. So the question I ask you guys is this. All right. I know I posted this before. Someone brought it up to me and said, what do I think? Well, what do I think? Obviously, this is all about exposure. This is all about disclosure. This is all about exposing. This is all about awakening. If Donald Trump says Joe Biden died in 2020, you better take his word. If Donald Trump said something about Canada being the 51st state, you better take his word. It's not because he's going senile and he's losing his mind. All right. So, yeah. So Ray says, wait. The reason the mandates were dropped, according to the AI, is reason mandates dropped. The real mandates were dropped in Canada, according to the analysis that they were, what's this? Holy crap, dude. That they were worked extraordinarily well at getting more Canadians vaccinated, but they became increasingly hard to justify as the situation evolved. This was due to factors such as the highly transmission Omicron variant. Anyway, I can't read all that, dude. All I know, yeah, AI, give me a break. Give me a break with that AI crap. So anyway, something else that you guys want to know about, if Donald Trump was such a bad person, and Donald Trump is Elvis, who was a fallen angel known as Lucifer, as the, Tyler Hansen would say, the fittest flat earther, and he was just out there tricking people. Check this out. Los Angeles hospital for transgender youth forced to shut down under Trump's new federal order. So obviously, everything that has to do with transgender, and this is just common sense again, anything that has to do with transitioning, and any college, any university, any hospital has been shut down. I know, bud. I know, Ray, that it was sarcastic. I know that it was a joke. I'm just what a crock of baloney AI can do with that. But anyway, it is what it is. There's our circle jerk in Ottawa didn't do anything except feel sorry for the people getting trampled on by horses and show the true identity of the police, which I'll say it and I'll say it again. The police are not with us. They're, the police are scumbags. They're parasites. And I've said it once, I said it twice. And it's the only thing I have against Donald Trump is I hate it when he says back the blue, respect the blue. It's the only thing I disrespect about Donald Trump. Only thing I disrespect with Donald Trump. I will never back the blue, no matter what. I'll back the military. Yeah, they're good men. Besides the Canadian military, the ones with the man buns and the transition, the transgender with the tampons in the men's washroom. I won't back up those men. But anyway, I will never back up the blue. And as far as you guys, if you know me, that will never happen. All right. So another thing, like I said, if Donald Trump was evil, the whole thing with the transitioning, the pride, which he shut down the whole month, everything you can imagine, all right, is completely finished, completely done under Donald Trump. So if Donald Trump was such a bad person, he would keep the narrative going, and actually he would double the narrative. All right. Double the narrative. Chris says we respect the blue in the USA. That's good, Chris. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of videos about what the Palestine and the stuff going on in the LA, that they're pushing away the Republicans who are trying to go against the, we're not talking about the ICE people now. Well, I don't mistake the ICE people with the LA police now and the New York police. We're two different policing now. ICE, immigrants, okay, and the Los Angeles police and the New York police and the Chicago police and the Minnesota police. I can go on for days of what I've seen videos of those guys and what they've been doing. All right. So anyway, and then now with the other thing with Trump, he just agreed to indict and disbar Jack Smith, obviously that fat Kentucky Fried Chicken eating Fannie Willis, goodbye to her. The other fat Kentucky Fried grape drinking Letitia James, goodbye. Alvin Braggs, goodbye. Those people, obviously, that were, corrupted, they are going to be no longer. They're going to be disbarred, obviously, probably in prison by now, to be honest with you. But either way, see you later, alligator. So if Trump was such a bad person, why would he be doing this? Why would he be trying to do all this? Terry says Kim Clements told us Trump was going to take us into the golden era back in 2007, 2012, would serve several terms. Yeah, I totally believe that. He also said the United States had two presidents. Remember that, Terry? All right. Two presidents. Yeah, two presidents. The president of the United States of America Incorporated and the president of the United States Republic. And I think most of you guys who follow me know what the difference of incorporated, defunct, defunded, I guess you could say, dissolved, and then the republic, which was the United States was the real United States was made republic back in, I'm losing my dates. I don't know if it's 2017 or 2018 when it became a republic. Something tells me 2018 comes to mind when it was became a republic. Sean goes, I stand with ICE and I'm Canadian. We need them here. Yeah, exactly. There's a difference from the policing and ICE. Two different. And speaking of ICE, oh yeah, you guys won't be able to see this, but I'll try to read it. This is in Texas, guys. So there's about 13, I think it was 15 or 13, 15 people that were arrested and charged for voter harvesting scheme in Texas. In Texas, guys. All these people in the faces, I know you guys can't see it, but these people, including the judge, including a county judge, were all arrested. Most of them are, again, you know, Garza, Rodriguez, Ramirez, Trevino again, another Trevino, Obregon. There's literally not one white name in there. Garcia, Benavides. I mean, I can't pronounce these names. So obviously, if I can't pronounce them, they're immigrants. They were all arrested for the fraud that happened in Texas. So obviously, they're bringing down all these corrupted people with the whole. If you think the Democrats won a fair election, just like the liberals, if you think the liberals won this election down here, you're completely nuts. I know we have a lot of boomers that voted liberals and a bunch of beta caucus men, because there's a lot of them around the world. And the reason why most men, and I did this speech back in 2006 at seminars, that I said that the vaccinations were making our men and our baby boys, turning them into women, and turning the women into, getting testosterone. So that's why you'll see a lot of the rallies today, guys. And this was back in 2006 when I used to do a lot of seminars. You'll see that a lot of the rallies are mostly women, right? Even if it's liberal women or conservative women, the Freedom Rally was mostly women that had a set of balls. We didn't really have a lot of men, all right? And we still don't have a lot of men out there, because if we did have a lot of men, this crap that's happening with the immigrants would literally stop. It's mostly women, all right? Just to let you know. So that's what's happening. And they've been doing this since the early 2000s, of injecting our kids with so many vaccinations that is disrupting the hormones and turning our boys into little girls. You don't even understand it. When I go pick up my son at school, I analyze. My biggest problem with me is I analyze. All right. I analyze too much. Everywhere I go, I analyze. And speaking of analyze, I'm going to show you something. I want you guys, all right, check this out. If you want, I'm going to wake you up. All right, I'm going to wake you up, because I used to say this to my friends, to my girlfriends, for the past 10 years. I've been analyzing stuff, a lot of stuff. But one thing I analyzed, and I've got it here, all right, is commercials. So I'm going to ask you guys a question, because I like it when you guys do one-on-one with me. What do you notice? And if you haven't, you're going to notice now, because I pointed it out. What do you notice today about watching commercial? All right. What do you guys notice? And maybe a lot of you don't have that answer, because I'm hitting you at the wrong time. But one thing you got to know is, from now on, I want you to look at your commercials, because they've been doing it for the longest time, over 10 years. And they're making it, they're normalizing it. I seen this the other day. All right. I seen this on a post the other day, and I was like, wow, that person hit it right on the nail. All right. So you guys are saying nothing but gays. Okay. Yeah. Same-sex couples or men wear makeup. Okay. Biracial, same-sex. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie's got it. Carrie hit it. Carrie hit it right on the nail. And you know what? Thank you, Norman. Norman hit it too. Everything you see on commercials today, you'll see a black man, a white woman, a Chinese man, a white woman, an Indian man, a white woman. Any white guy in there is usually wearing a man bun, is gay, wearing makeup. All right. But the biggest thing, or same-sex couples, they're trying to normalize it. But you'll rarely see a white-on-white couple, all biracial couples. If you didn't see it, you're going to see it now. So when I seen this, it hit it right on the nail. This person hit it on the nail. So I'm going to read it out for you. Even though they said the wrong question, they said it, DEI. All right. So this girl right here, Laura Loomer. Can we normalize putting white people back in TV commercials? If you don't have white people in your commercial, I'm not buying your product. I'm tired of the DEI commercials. And then this Nandy says, can we normalize not having a gay scene in every movie and TV show? So this Laura goes, the only time they ever show a white person in commercials anymore is if they are two gay dudes with an adopted son or two butch lesbians. We need to bring straight white people back. And you know what? They literally hit that on the nail. Unfortunately, I've been noticing it over 10 years. And I've been saying it if to whoever I'm with, my girlfriend at the time, or even my son, you know, you'll see it on all the commercials. Most of the commercials, it's like that because they're trying to normalize that. And this has all been a narrative for the past 20 years. They've been pushing this narrative for 25 years. So people are saying I agree, and some people don't say anything because you don't really realize it. But now, okay, you're going to see it. And Markton says critical race theory. Yeah, but they're trying to normalize it because they're trying to take out the white race. This is why, I just showed you that video, that all Muslim family have between 6 and 8 kids, and white people cannot survive. And we can't have any more than 1 kid if we're even lucky. This is all being done on purpose, and the government is supporting all of this. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but I hate to get back on this, right? I hate to get back on this subject, but I don't know if you Canadians know this, and I know the UK, but Canadian families, I hope I'm going to teach you about something. If you're a Muslim family and you come here with 4 or 5 kids, okay, we'll just say, okay, because you'll notice that all the new immigrants now, they're all having babies. They're every single immigrant out here, you look at them, they're all lining up and they're having babies so they can be Canadian kids, so they can be accepted to get their visas, I guess you could say. They're doing it on purpose, obviously. But I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm going to share this little secret with you. And if this doesn't make you angry, I don't know what will. All right. So if you're a Muslim family, you move to Canada, you have, let's say, 4 kids. Okay. Just to let you know, when you get accepted in Canada, which is right away, if your kid is 10, if one of your kids is 10 years old, 12 years old, 14, 15, whatever, all right, check this out, is the child benefit that you get every month for your kid, all right? Check this out. Every year, every month that your kid is in here, that you're an immigrant, so let's say you have a 10-year-old kid, they will give you, okay, all those years since the baby was born, every month you've missed until the age of what your kid is born. That's not a lie. That's the truth, guys. I don't know if you know that, and I don't know if I shared that with you. But if your Muslim kid is 10 years old, 12 years old, that baby bonus, whatever it is for the baby bonus people, I don't know what it is, okay? They will give you every month that you've missed of not even being Canadian. So if you're wondering why Canada is so broke and going bankrupt, this is all done by design. They are literally, and they've been doing this for the last 25 years, because if you try to talk anything bad, that's when they came out and they used the word racist. So if anybody ever uses the racist quote to me, I use that shit as a badge of honor now. All right. I use that shit as a badge of honor when someone says you're just racist. All right. I use that. If there was a badge, I would wear that badge with a big smile on my face, because I know that person is obviously dumb, stupid, and ignorant, and obviously, yeah, right. They backdate it. They backdate for every month those kids that are not Canadian. All right. But I wear that as a badge of honor now, to be honest with you, because it's not racist. It's being a realist. And anyone that uses that effing word should be hopefully vaccinated and depopulated as soon as possible. I hope they've taken 3 jabs. So soon they will be, here today, gone tomorrow. But I don't let that bother me no more, that the whole racist BS no more. And speaking of that, check this out, guys. So this Pixar movie, the new movie about a queer 11-year-old boy, Elio just made history as Pixar's worst performing movie in history. So it made just $25 million on a $150 million plus budget. This is the Pixar new movie about a queer 11-year-old boy. All right. When we're trying to normalize things, and guess what? It just failed. But the question that gets me is it still made $25 million. All right. That's how, I mean, $25 million is still a lot of money. It's still a lot of money that people brought their kids to watch this Pixar movie. So 25 million, that show shouldn't have made $1 million, never mind $25 million. What were you guys saying? That's how these people are buying big houses for their 10 wives? Yeah, of course. Why do you think they can afford all these houses? It's the whole point of jacking up, which the housing market's going to crash, is because they live 10 to 15 in a house and they share the expenses and they all got new cars and they're all doing this and they're all doing that and they're all buying businesses. They're not just doing it in Canada, they're doing it all worldwide. And it's been an agenda. I know someone mentioned, well, Jeff, you can't discriminate against these immigrants that come here and that want to, do good for their families, and everybody's chasing that dream. Sorry, you can chase that dream in your own country, all right? Because they're not coming here to do a better life for themselves. Because I can easily debate you on that, because when you come in here, you migrate and you become accustomed to Canadian morals, all right? Has anybody put up your hand? Has anyone seen any immigrants that are not praying on the streets, not in a Palestine bullshit rally, that are not asking for prayers at their work, that are literally totally, and I've said this 100 times, disrespecting the Canadian people on a daily basis. I see videos being sent to me on a daily basis, hundreds of videos of how much disrespect that these Punjabis and these Silk, and I remember I got into an argument with them, don't compare the Punjabis with the Silk. Listen, if you're brown, you're the same Punjabi Silks, you're the same Indians to me, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you wear a towel on your head or a red dot on your forehead. If you're the same color, you're the same to me. If you're a Muslim person, guaranteed, you're not here to have a better life. You're basically here to take control. I don't care what anybody says. And you're going to see, if you don't believe me now, in about 5 more years, you're going to say, you know what? Jeff was right. I can't believe I fell for that crap. Because I've lived in every city across Canada besides Winnipeg, and it's all been the same stuff, the same narrative, the same outcome of what's happening. All right. I'm just hoping to God that Pierre Poilievre can get into office and deport the 4.9 million people by December 2025 whose visas, work student visas, are up, and that they can deport these 4.9 million people. Ray says, I know a few immigrants, India and synagogue, that came here and completely assimilated in our culture, came here to work, and even the Indian guy hates the Indians around here, but I only know 2 for sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't say 100%, right? I never say 100%. I just say a good majority. And I just love it. My number went down. I had 120 people watching, dropped to 112. Just when you mention anything about immigrants, it's just so amazing that people just do not want to hear the truth. It just boggles my mind that these people are just so ignorant and so treacherous that they don't even know what the hell is going on when I talk about the truth. All right? If you haven't seen the truth and don't know about the truth, take a look at the videos. If you can get the videos that's happening in the UK, in Paris, France, obviously, in Italy, in Germany. Germany is disgusting. UK is completely wrote off. The what do you call it, in Australia, New Zealand, they are completely written off. Canada is probably 6 months to a year completely written off. It's not written off yet, but it will be written off in the next 6 months to a year with most, and I'm going to say Africans are coming by the thousands daily, just to let you know. In the New Brunswick area, they are pouring the Africans here in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. I don't know what they're doing in Ontario with the Africans, but they're definitely invading New Brunswick, just to let you guys know, in the New Brunswick and Nova Scotia PI area. I know the PI are loaded with Pakistans and Punjabis, and I just pushed out Indians. But I noticed that New Brunswick are getting swamped with Africans. Philippines, yes, the Filipinos have always been here, but they kind of keep quiet to themselves. The Philippines kind of keep quiet to themselves, so I don't really bother them, because I mean, there's nothing more funnier is watching a Philippine try to act tough, right? A Chinese person try to act tough. You know, there's, I guess, triad gangs and stuff like that, but I mean, they're 4 feet high, filled with rice, piss and vinegar. What do you think they're going to do? But I know for a fact it's just Africans are being loaded here on purpose for a reason. I just shared something with you guys not too long ago that New Brunswick is calling for 110,000 more Africans in the province of New Brunswick in the next 3 years. The next 3 years, guys. So the people that don't live in New Brunswick, this is what we're going through. We're going to have 110,000 more of the most laziest, ignorant race and all humanity coming here in New Brunswick. And I guarantee you, New Brunswick's going to be a complete ghetto, like New York, LA, Chicago, you name it. It's going to be one big province it's going to be a big ghetto. Who said what here? Ray, Filipinos also work damn hard. They came in the legal way a bunch, go to my parents' church. Yeah, I have no problems against the Filipinos, buddy. I have no problems against some Mexicans, to be honest with you. The Spanish people are hardworking people, not the ones with the tattoos on their face. So I never talk bad about the Filipinos, to be honest with you. I know a few Filipinos, and they're very good, hardworking people that have about 2 jobs. And yes, they respect. They don't try to bring Muslim and Sharia law or whatever hell you call it and stuff like that. But yeah, it just... I'm telling you guys now, if someone thinks you're prejudiced or racist, you tell them to shove that up their liberal ass. Speaking of liberal ass, check this out. I thought this was pretty funny. Some things that I listened to the fittest flat earther, Tyler, he's got some good stuff. But the person, and I think I shared this before, the person playing Kamala Harris is really Jennifer Lopez. I've said that a long time ago, last year sometime. But now Tyler Hansen, the fittest flat earther, he came out and did this. And finally, you know, because she's wearing a mask, as you can see on her neck. But I've already said this a long time ago, that it is J-Lo playing, you know, Kamala Harris, which I think is pretty damn funny. And speaking of, this is a shot with the Ireland breaking now. You're never going to see this on TV, guys, and you're not going to see it on the news. But Ireland are literally losing their mind right now. So Catholic patriots block a Muslim march to historic GPO in Dublin. The Muslims tried a show of force, but brave Irish patriots stood up to them, declaring this is our Ireland. So yeah, you're not going to see none of that, guys, on TV. All right. But Ireland, there's a lot of shit happening in Ireland. All right. There's a lot of crap happening in Ireland. And they're not putting up with that crap. Jennifer has a fat bottom. Kamala doesn't. Well, believe it or not, J-Lo, the real J-Lo, and I think I've shared this a long time, has been executed. I think someone just mentioned that. I think Elizabeth. Yeah. So anyway, they were all executed. We're just talking about doubles, clones. All right, clones. There is a J-Lo clone out there. I've shared it with you with the mask a long time. That's why J-Lo doesn't do concerts no more, obviously. That's why you see the fake Ben Affleck going around, you know, looking like he's depressed and on anxiety pills and stuff like that. But anyway, I was talking about the countries and where else sees Black, African, and Muslims and Portugal, Philippines. Not that I'm against them. No, you don't see that. You don't see those people in Philippines, and China and Japan. You don't see those people because they would literally be beheaded. They literally would be beheaded down there. You try to bring Sharia law and Sharia law, or whatever the hell you call it, or any kind of Muslim in countries like Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Japan, China, Philippines. They would execute them right on the spot. They go missing. Let's just put it that way. You'll never see those people down there trying to bring that shit. They only bring it to places of Commonwealth countries, and that's what they're doing. Commonwealth. Every Commonwealth country out there, you'll see them loaded with Africans, and you'll see them loaded with Muslims, right? What's this? J-Lo couldn't act her way out of a paper bag. Yeah. Paper bag. Yeah. No, a paper bag. Yeah. No, the real J-Lo has been gone. And speaking of gone, check this guy out. LeBron. Love your purse, LeBron. This was the other day. If you think they're not in a big club, this is the humiliation ritual, guys. That's right. If they're not wearing a dress, they're carrying a purse. Right? Just to let you know. One of big P. Diddy fans right there. So it's a big club and we're not welcome in it. And you know what, guys? I'd rather not be welcome in it, to be honest with you. No, thank you. No matter how much money they would give me, I wouldn't. You wouldn't see me in that club. And speaking of that club, check this one out. Jennifer Aniston's no makeup photo confirms what we all know. And take a very good look at her photo, because that's why Jennifer Aniston never had kids. Never had kids. Yeah, I remember seeing that picture, Ray, with him in wearing a maid's outfit. That was a humiliation ritual. Yeah, I've seen that. I actually shared that, I think, with you guys a long time ago. Yeah, that bag's probably worth 60 grand. Who knows? Probably even more. But take a look at Jennifer Aniston. We all know, nice scar. Yeah, never had that scar before, huh? Could it be the real Could it be the real Jennifer Aniston? I think Jennifer Aniston was the only one out of the Friends cast that wasn't executed. She is in Gizmo, but she wasn't executed, if I'm not mistaken. I remember seeing her name, but I didn't see it. I think it said awaiting trial. It didn't say anything about executed for her. And one thing to let you guys know what the Friends cast used to do. All right. What the Friends cast used to do, and I had a video, and I shared this video a couple of years ago for the people that just started following me. The Friends cast, before they would do their they had a ritual. Every time they would jump on the stage to do their shows, I guess you could say, they would get in a circle, and they would chant this thing about Satan. They would be worshiping Satan, but they had this chant, and a person, one of the stage helps, sent the video and put it on the social media of them huddling together doing this chant to worship Satan. And I shared that with you guys. Yeah, it's a satanic ritual. And I shared that with you guys about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, for the people that just started following me. So yeah, they were all Satanists, all the whole cast. Just to let you know, stop watching Friends. It had nothing to do with being funny and stuff like that. They were all, they were literally all Satanists. That's why they were making the money like $1 million an episode, that it was getting to the point that they're literally making $1 million an episode. So you don't make $1 million an episode unless you do extra things to make it up there, guys. So anyway, besides that, I had a couple more things, but this was for the immigrants. It's not chaos, it's planned. Import migrants destroys culture. Jail citizens for criticism. Turn police against citizens. Evoke the digital ID for surveillance. Bankrupt the nation to eliminate government. Eliminate private property. Lots of things. Basically, what they're trying to do is destabilize the economy. So we will beg and cry to the government to own nothing and be happy. Remember that saying? Own nothing and be happy. That's the whole narrative of all this. All right. That's the whole narrative of all of this, is to depend on the government. And that's when they'll try to bring in the digital ID and the whole NWO. Is it going to work? Nope. You guys believe me once, you believe me twice. When I tell you that their NWO is out the window, thanks to Donald Trump and the White Hats, their digital plan is out the window. Stop listening to other podcasters who are basically telling you that the digital ID is around the corner. I've been hearing that shit for the last 3 years with the Omicron, with the other viruses and the shutdown on the way, the other foolishness that you guys have been hearing from other stupid podcasters. Stop listening to fear-mongering people, all right? Please, for the love of God, if you want truth, if you want to stay sane, just follow my podcast. If there's anything to worry about, I'll be the first person to tell you guys it's time to worry. The only thing you guys got to worry about is you can thank your local government and see how we're being invaded and just hope, because I can't predict how we're going to deport these people. I can't predict that. That's the only thing I can't, but I'm still going to wake up the people to stop listening of being called racist. I'm telling you once, I'm telling you twice, there is not one positive thing about immigration. I don't care what anybody says. If you think you can debate with me, come on the show. We'll talk about debating about immigrants and immigration and what it brings. And I'll bring you some stats, and the statistics don't lie, and you'll see exactly what the plan is. But I think you guys know what the plan is. You should know by now. And if you don't, please, for the love of God, get your head out of the toilet bowl. And, I can go on and do other podcasts strictly on immigration. And if you don't believe me, check out the bubblegum theory. It's the best theory out there. Go on YouTube, look up bubblegum theory. It's 5 minutes. You'll learn about the bad things about immigration by using bubblegums. And I think you guys will like it. Anyway, I love you guys all. If anything important comes during the week, obviously I'll do a quick podcast. We'll see you guys back next Monday. Because remember, summertime, I only do one podcast a week. I'm sorry, but I got other things to do, to be honest with you. So my son comes first. But if anything important comes out, I can pop on a Thursday night, but I'll always let you guys know in advance. I love you guys all. And like Don Cherry says, you people hold that line. And you'll like my outro video. It's a good gizmo of who's going down and how they're going down. Take care and adios, amigos.
Just stop your crying, it's a sign of the times. Welcome to the final show. Hope you're wearing your best clothes. You can't bribe the door on your way to the sky. You look pretty good down here, but you ain't really